Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Dwarf Fortress with Teemo. I'm going to be going over a few kind of underground plant life mechanics today. So some things I got asked to show is how to irrigate, how to make some underground top-level farms. So essentially a farm that normally would be above ground, make it underground. And then finally how to make tree farms. So the tree farm and the irrigation is going to kind of come together because I'm going to show out irrigated area, and then that area is actually going to turn into cavern underground because I already have the caverns unlocked in this area. So you can see actually I've got moss growing throughout my fortress. Here's where I'm going to put the what would normally be underground farms. So you see here that I've got plump helmets, dimple cups, pigtails. I'm going to in these two spots, I'm going to build a couple of farms that do above ground stuff. And then when I go down below, I've started to build something here where I can do some irrigation. So I'm going to go ahead and designate removal of these walls right here, so I can start basically using the aquifer as a method to irrigate. I've got a couple levers set up. So the first lever right here will raise this drawbridge and block this whole area off. The next lever will open this drawbridge while at the same time closing this wall, allowing the water to go where I want it to go. And I've only got I've got a small population here on this fort, so hopefully they'll get around to doing this pretty quick. And maybe not. I think what I'm also going to do, because they might take their time doing some of this stuff, is I'm going to swap my miners over to just only do mining. And let's go, while they're thinking about that, take care of this one too. Alright, so what you need to do for making underground farms that do top level surface is expose it to the sky. So this right here, 1Z level up, I already channeled out, so it's right on the surface now. So what I'm going to do is channel again, and I'm going to channel these two spaces. Now to make it safe to channel, I'm going to want to do something like that for that one, and then the same thing over here, because I don't want ever to be an area that's going to just come loose until I've dug out the other stuff. So this will make it so there's no cave-ins. That one. Alright, pause that. So that exposed these 9 squares to all the way to the sun up top. So they're exposed all the way out above. Once you've done that, you could go ahead and just close it right back up. Do a construction, a floor, select material, keep building. And we'll do blocks and blocks. Alright, that way I can keep it nice and safe. And then down underneath here, we're going to go ahead and construct, oops, not furniture, workshop, farm. That needs to go away. That. That one, we'll let that gather. Let's go see how they're doing. Alright, so they've removed the wall. Now I can start digging here. So this digging is going to be a little bit slow because I have to kind of do it one at a time, because otherwise it'll auto cancel. But once I get these diggers here, it'll be fine. So I'm digging into the aquifer. And you can see water is starting to pour down. Now this aquifer, I don't remember if it's actually on this level. I think it might just be coming from the ceiling. But either way, whether it's from the ceiling or not, what I'm going to do to create more channels of success is make kind of like little one wide tunnels. And the reason that I want to do that is because it gives more surface area to leak. So I'm just going to keep doing this to make it so that with a slow moving aquifer, this just gives more area that can leak at the same time. If I were to just do the full room out, all of these walls that you see here would just be around the outside. And when you do the space like this, what it means is that all of these can just leak into the middle together. All right. That's probably good enough right there. One more there, and then I'm going to close this off and let the water kind of build up a little bit. Alright, so that'll all start leaking. As that's leaking, I'm going to go ahead and close this, pull the lever, and go ahead and give it a high priority. And so water will start filling in this little place. So right now it's blocked off by this drawbridge. This drawbridge is currently open, but as soon as a dwarf gets over here and does this really high priority job, so now that's closed. So this counts as a wall. This whole area will fill up. So let's go back up to the top. We haven't gathered that yet, but that's okay because I just needed one to show you. So now instead of the underground, we have bilberry, blueberry, cranberry as my 3 choices. Now the reason that I have these ones is that's kind of what's available in this area. So if I were to get bilberry, blueberry, or cranberry seeds, I could start planting here. And I have some of those bushes on the surface, so I could come in up here and gather some of this stuff and brew it in, and then that would give me some seeds. I think actually with some of these dead cranberry vines, I think I have to do a actual gather zone for these and just wait until they produce, which I don't know if they'll produce during the winter like this. This is a completely frozen biome that I started on with this map, and so I don't know if these things have a cycle that will actually produce anything or not. Either way, that's how you would produce it. It's just digging it out, then go ahead and fill it back over with a floor. So even though it's filled over the floor, I can still grow all of these here now. So it's those 3 bushes. You see the ones that are right next to it. I've still got the selections of the underground plants to do. All right, and if that one clears off, I can do that one as well. All right, so back to here. So this is filling with water. So what's going to happen is once I get enough water here, and I can actually start letting it go now, but what I'm going to do is open up the other one. This will open up this here, and it'll flow down underneath the ground and kind of fill into this area. When I fill into this area, what's going to happen is the water's going to spread over it, and it's going to cause mud. And then when I close it back off again, it'll eventually... Oh, rabbit. It's in for a week. That's fine. As the waters recede, it leaves mud. The mud will have irrigated it and will actually start to grow all your underground moss and that kind of stuff as well, which is kind of nice. And then after that, you're going to get all the underground plants to start growing. Along with, so it'll be like your plump helmets will start growing in here just naturally. You'll get the cave wheat down here growing naturally. You'll also get little mushrooms to start growing down here naturally. Now, what a mushroom needs to do, it'll be like a short little mushroom when it first starts, but after a while, it'll grow into a full like mushroom tree looking thing with a trunk. But you need 3 levels in order to actually have it fully grow. So I dug out. Here's level 1, here's the next Z level, here's a 3rd Z level. So I've cleared out and dug the same area for 3 levels in a row. And that's going to allow enough space for them to actually turn into trees. How we doing on the... So let's see how much that actually spreads out when we start doing. Pull lever. And let's go back up here. I still haven't gathered that. Do I have my job set incorrectly? Let's see, plant gather, and everybody does it. So eventually they get to it. I don't need to dig. You guys can go back to... Alright. So this drawbridge here was just a retracting drawbridge, so it just becomes a hole. And then this one became a wall. So you can see the water is flowing out all over the ground, creating some mud. And that's good enough now just to show you how to do it. Pull the lever again, have it stop. To really get that whole cavern irrigated, you really want to let these fill up to all 7.7 and then do it. Otherwise, what's going to happen is it does just a little bit. At 7.7, it should pretty close to spread out over this whole thing. But as this recedes, you'll see that it leaves this little smattering of a dusting of mud and that kind of stuff, or some yellow sand. So this, as it recedes, will actually start turning into the moss will start growing. And let me go back up top and see. No, they still haven't cleared that. Because I only got 14 pop in this fortress. There's not a lot of people to do stuff. And I actually have a lot of Z split. So you can see here I'm at elevation -2 up at the top, and my fortress goes all the way down to, what do I got? -118 from where my forges are, right above the magma. Oh, this was actually supposed to be a magma kiln. I can toss that in here. This is actually my, I've been playing this for myself, just trying to remember how to survive in a frozen biome. And I'm not doing that well. And I'm also really far away. I'm not getting very many traders. I'm not getting very many goblins. But it's allowing me to remember how to do some stuff, which is fine. Gathered that. And how we doing here? Yeah, there we go. So we got some muddy sparse cave moss. So the cave moss is started. Anywhere that got irrigated will eventually become this cave moss. It'll start spreading. I don't think the cave moss will just spread on its own. I think it needs to have been irrigated first. So like when the cave moss gets to the edge here and it's just cavern floor that's the rock, I believe it'll stop right there. You can see there's a little bit of light green underneath this. Eventually, if you had let the water flow over the whole thing, obviously all of it would look like this and evaporate off, and then it'll start turning to cave moss. After it's cave moss for a while, it'll become like this, where you start getting little plants and stuff coming up. Sometimes some of these plants like this, you see a young spore tree. So that's before it grows up. Now this won't ever become a full tree because I don't have 3 Z levels above it. So if I were to dig out this level, I can't even get 3 levels from here. So I had done this just because I'm going to be collecting plants from in here right next to my food storage. You can actually see there's some plants in my food storage that grew up, so I could actually just collect those within it. Something like this, and they'll just kind of pick it and put it right into the food storage itself. But I got this whole area to do that as well. So I think that's everything that was requested. So that's how you get farms below the ground and protected that are surface level plants. You're restricted to whatever the biome has. You can't, unfortunately, bring plants that aren't part of this biome. The farms will default to whatever is available here. And then this is how you would irrigate. I always recommend when you're doing irrigation, whether it's from a river or an aquifer, you set up ahead of time before you release the waters. You set up some levers with drawbridges to control the flow how you want. And even from this, so I used this to irrigate down here, and we got some more. Here's some more cave moss over here. Somehow we got some Dwarf and Crundle blood. It probably washed from. I had a fight with some Crundles. If I wanted to use this water somewhere else, like say I wanted to create another underground farm way down here, and I wanted to use this same water flow, what I could do is come to, this is blocked off right now. What I could do is come down to here and kind of maybe put a couple walls across here, and then irrigate out this way and channel. I want to put it out this way. I can channel this way with it. And that allows you to redirect it somewhere else. And again, I can just open it with this, redirect it to the other place I want it, close it, and block it back off. The other thing you could do with aquifers is aquifer is actually a place where you can get rid of water. So if you kind of dump water onto the top of an aquifer, the aquifer will just kind of suck it up. So aquifers can actually be used to, if you've got like a surface level river, and then you want to use that water from the river somewhere, and then you want to dump it somewhere, you can actually dump it into an aquifer level, and it will get rid of the water for you. So you could create kind of a closed loop like that. So I think that's about it for the topics. Hopefully that helped explain stuff. If you've got any questions, toss them in the chat, and I'll just answer them with text. Have a good night, everybody.